Today we're going to talk about how you can collect customer feedback using YetiText and ActiveCampaign, and how you can use some of the automation tools inside of ActiveCampaign to validate the responses and then create some automation off of that. In a video titled Ratings, we talk about how we can use these custom answers that are received through different AutoChats and how we can validate those inside of ActiveCampaign. So for a more detailed view of how to do that, go ahead and watch that video. We're going to briefly cover how we can do that just by saving the details into the ActiveCampaign custom fields. So just to review this conversation as an example, so we had this conversation sent in our user group for one of our texting softwares. And so this is a Grubhub customer feedback for a delivery for Thai chili to go. So in here, Grubhub's asking, hey, how was your order? When did you receive it? Was it early, on time, or late? And obviously we replied to as on time. And then the next reply in the auto conversation is, was the food good? Yes or no? Yes. Was the order correct? Yes or no? Yes. Rate your overall experience 5 to 1, and that was a 5. And then tell us your thoughts on the restaurant. It was great. So that's kind of the flow that we want to kind of go over today, how to set that up inside of YetiText, and then how we can kind of incorporate that into ActiveCampaign. So the first thing we want to do inside of ActiveCampaign is create our custom fields that are going to accommodate the answers that we receive from our customer feedback AutoChat. So inside of here, I've created 5 different custom fields that are just text input fields. This is going to allow us to save all of that information collected by the contact on our feedback conversation. So for our Grubhub example, I've created 5 different fields. We've got good food, correct order, experience rating, thoughts, and arrival time. Next, we want to navigate to our auto chats inside of YetiText, and we want to create a new auto chat that we can utilize. In this example of collecting customer feedback, we're going to be utilizing the post URL and not using the keyword in order to gain feedback. We can still ask for both. If we want to ask for feedback as part of the customer experience, we can do that. We can ask them to text in the keyword and do it. Or if we have their phone number from the customer experience, we can take this post URL and send the first response of our customer feedback auto chat from ActiveCampaign. So we'll show an example of how each is done. So we're going to start by clicking Add Chat, and we're going to use the keyword feedback. Feedback is going to be the word we want to use if we are asking for feedback from the customer. So they text the keyword feedback and then go through that conversation. Then we're going to go ahead and follow the example of the Grubhub feedback customer request, and we're going to go ahead and type those out into the text message field. So we'll start first with asking, when did the order arrive? Once we have typed out our text message, we want to make sure that we verify that we are within the 160 character limit for a text message. And then it looks like this conversation is good, so we'll be able to collect that answer 1, 2, or 3 from the contact. We're going to select the field that we want to save the response to. In this case, we select the arrival time. We can select a tag to be applied to the contact when they start this feedback auto chat. In this case, we are simply labeling the tag started feedback auto chat. So we want to make sure that you can create those tags inside of ActiveCampaign before you start so that you can select them inside of here. And then we'll go ahead and click Add Step. Next, we want to add an additional step. The next step we're going to be asking for, was the food good, yes or no? So we're going to continue to follow the order here and grab that and type that out inside of YetiText. Once we have typed out the next response, we're going to save this one to the field asking how the food was. So in this case, we're saving to good food, and then that will be labeled as yes or no in the response to that. We're going to continue to add those steps as we continue to go. So now that we've gone ahead and completed the rest of our conversation, we're going to go ahead and take this and look at an example inside of ActiveCampaign and what we can do with this information. So we've got an example here inside of the contact. So here we have the 5 different fields, and they're all labeled with the response that we received from our Grubhub example. So we've got, yes, the food was good. Yes, it was the correct order. We have an experience rating of 5, and then thoughts, yeah, it was great, and arrival time 2, it was on time. So we can use this information to notify our team if things were bad or good. And then we can also, since this was obviously a perfect score, we can then go ahead and follow up with that contact or send some sort of coupon to them, incentivizing them to come back. So the way we handle these different responses can affect the way that customer will come back to us or not. So the last step we're going to cover is how to validate the responses that we collect from an auto chat using ActiveCampaign's automation tools. So in here, we're going to use the trigger, obviously, which is the tag at the very end of our auto chat. So in this case, we use the tag completed feedback auto chat. So in here, we'll go ahead and put that trigger, and then we're going to go ahead and conditionalize the response from a new contact that enters this automation. Once we have created our trigger, we're going to go to the conditions and workflow from the new action pop-up, and we're going to choose the if-else action. So from here, we want to select one of our values that we want to base our segmentation off of. And in this case, we're going to select a custom field, and then we're going to scroll down and we're going to look at the experience rating. So that's the one that we want to focus on. And so if we say that the experience rating is less than 3, so that's like a 2 or a 1, then we're going to go ahead and fire them off of a path that's going to try to push for a better rating or find out more about why the rating was so bad so that we can clean up that process in our customer support or our whatever other experience with our product or service that they had. If it's above a 3, we're going to take them down a different path where we could send them a coupon to come back in and kind of continue that goodwill that we've created with the customer, or some other type of follow-up later on down the road. So kind of using that as an example, you can do that with all the different values that you collect from your customer feedback auto chat, and you can get really creative with all the different options that ActiveCampaign has to offer. If there's any questions you have about this whole customer feedback experience auto chat, feel free to text or call 858-800-4552.